What's going on, guys? It's Clutch Hoops here, and today we're going to be giving out NBA comparisons for the top prospects in the 2020 NBA draft class. The 2020 draft class is pretty evenly spread out in positions, and there are so many possible players that could go in the top 10. Even though this is the case, it's hard to see how some of these players' unique games will translate to the NBA. One of the best ways to show how these prospects' games will translate to the NBA is by comparing them to a current or former NBA player. Now, this doesn't mean at all that they will be as good or as bad as the players in the video, rather it's just that they play very similarly. In this video, I'm going to try my best to keep it to current NBA players, but some of these players are near identical to former NBA players. However, keep in mind that these NBA comparisons are by no means exact, and no one prospect is going to be exactly the same as another NBA player. Now with that said, let's hop right into it. Number 1, Anthony Edwards' NBA comparison is Victor Oladipo. There are a couple players that Anthony Edwards could be compared to, but Victor Oladipo and Anthony Edwards share so many similar qualities. Tom Crean was the coach of Victor Oladipo at Indiana, and now has used what he's taught him to help Anthony Edwards prepare for the NBA. Anthony has not had the most efficient season as he shot about 40% from the field, but he's faced constant double teams and defensive attention at Georgia. Similar to Oladipo, Anthony Edwards can finish in the paint in a variety of ways and is best when he's attacking the rim. On top of this, they are both very athletic shooting guards who can play well off ball dominant point guards. Anthony Edwards is a bit bigger than Oladipo as he's 6'5", 225 pounds with a 6'9" wingspan, while Victor Oladipo is fully grown at 6'4", 212 pounds. This strong frame allows both of them to finish very well through contact and draw fouls, giving them the opportunity to shoot a ton of free throws. Their shooting abilities are about the same as they are both great jump shooters but will never be elite. They both don't need to rely on their jump shot and are able to score at all three levels with ease. Victor Oladipo has become an elite NBA defender as he made the 2018 NBA All-Defensive First Team, and Anthony Edwards has the ability to become just as good a defender, if not better. Oladipo was a 3-year college player, so he came into the NBA much more polished, but Anthony Edwards is a raw 18-year-old prospect who lacks a good defensive IQ, defensive instincts, and defensive effort. He's bigger, stronger, and faster than Oladipo, which gives him a ton of potential on that side of the ball. All in all, Edwards projects to be a bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic version of Victor Oladipo in the NBA. Number 2, Tyrese Halliburton compares to Lonzo Ball. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton and Dante Exum share very similar physical qualities, but a better NBA comparison would definitely be Lonzo Ball. To begin, the physical profile is near identical as Tyrese is a 6'5", 175 point guard and Lonzo is a 6'6", 190 pound point guard. They are both relatively lanky guards who make the players around them much better. Both of them are also good passers, but at times can be too pass first. Lonzo has been much more aggressive recently, but Tyrese needs to look for his own shot way more often. On top of this, they both have very funky releases that have been surprisingly very effective. Lonzo shoots the 3-ball at 38% this season, and Tyrese shot it at 41% in college. With these funky releases though, they're pretty slow, so they have trouble keeping defenders honest in the pick and roll game. Tyrese has been able to use his length when finishing around the rim, which Lonzo has been very good at doing in the NBA. One of Tyrese's biggest weaknesses coming into the NBA is his very weak 175 pound frame, and he will need to hit the weight room. Both of them are definitely going to be in contention for the all defensive teams at some point in their career. All in all, Lonzo and Tyrese both have very funky shots, great defensive skills, elite playmaking abilities, and incredible passing abilities. Number 3, James Wiseman compares to Mitchell Robinson of the New York Knicks. James Wiseman has so many similar attributes to Joel Embiid, David Robinson, Chris Bosh, and DeAndre Jordan, which makes it really hard to pick one specific player. However, if you had to pick one NBA comparison, it would definitely be Mitchell Robinson. They both are very lanky 7-foot big men with over 7'4" wingspans who weigh about 240 pounds. On top of this, they are both very athletic big men who are elite shot blockers already. Since they are both relatively young shot blockers with terrible defensive IQs, they have a lot of trouble with fouling. James Wiseman didn't have too many issues in college, but his defensive instincts are terrible and he will fall for any type of fake. This will take some time to fix in the NBA, and will have James Wiseman fighting foul trouble early on in his career. Where the two of them excel on the offensive side of the game is catching lobs and crashing the boards. With their athleticism and length, they are menaces on the board and around the rim. Wiseman will need to improve his hands significantly because his hands are pretty terrible, as he has trouble finishing lobs a lot of the time. One of the main differences between Wiseman and Robinson, other than the hands, is the fact that Wiseman is much more advanced in the post than Mitch. The one secret about the two of them is that they have shown that they can make threes in workouts, but have not yet used it in the NBA. Wiseman and Robinson are both very raw players who have so much potential to become all-star level NBA players in a couple years. Number 4. Obi Toppin compares to John Collins. Obi Toppin may have the highest floor in the entire draft, with a pretty good possibility of becoming a franchise cornerstone. His game reflects the new age of the NBA with the pick and roll and three-point shooting, which is John Collins' bread and butter. John Collins averaged 19 points and 10 rebounds in his sophomore year in college, and Obi is averaging 20 points and 7 rebounds per game, so their stats are pretty similar. The most similar part about their games, though, is that Obi and John Collins have both been able to dominate in the pick and roll game. Since they have elite vertical explosiveness, they are targets coming off of the pick and roll, and they can pop out to the three-point line as well. Similar to John Collins, Obi Toppin feasts on the offensive boards using his strength, length, and vertical explosiveness. This will translate to the NBA so well. On the defensive side of the ball, Obi is a below average perimeter defender, but he is a great shot blocker. John Collins is better than Obi on the perimeter, but their shot blocking ability is near identical. Overall, Obi is older than John Collins, which will definitely scare away draft scouts, but they are both two relatively young power forwards who will have a role in the NBA for a long time. Number 5. Isaac Okoro compares to Jimmy Butler. Isaac Okoro is a very raw prospect on the offensive side of the ball, but he will come into the NBA as an elite defender. Okoro and Butler are both small forwards / shooting guards who have extremely high motors. Okoro locks down any defender he is on and will be able to guard the opposing team's 1-4 with ease in the NBA. He already uses his athleticism to get to the rim on the offensive side of the ball, but he needs to improve his shooting and playmaking skills. Jimmy Butler came into the NBA with all the tools to be a great player, but he needed to polish pretty much everything about his game other than his defense. Jimmy was the last pick of the first round and was known as a lockdown defender with athleticism to develop an offensive game. Jimmy has transcended into a star player, and as long as Okoro continues to work hard, he may be able to become a Jimmy Butler type player. Now obviously Isaac Okoro is a huge risk, but you could get rewarded with a Jimmy Butler type player coming out. Number 6. Tyrese Maxey compares to Donovan Mitchell. Tyrese Maxey is slated to be a mid-first round pick, which was exactly where Donovan Mitchell was ranked. Tyrese and Donovan are both undersized shooting guards who can play well with and without the ball in their hands. They are both extremely athletic guards who play with tons of speed and a surprisingly large amount of strength when attacking the rim. When you look at the stat sheet, Maxey does not look like the best player on the Kentucky roster, but he has so much talent. He has the potential to score at all 3 levels like Donovan Mitchell, and more importantly, he can take over games. For example, in his very first game versus Michigan State, Maxey scored 26 points and led Kentucky to a 69-62 win. The most promising part about Tyrese Maxey's game, in my opinion, is that when he shoots poorly, he is still able to affect the game in so many different ways. In his 2 worst shooting games versus Georgia Tech and Florida, he still had 6 and 7 assists and led his team to 2 victories. Donovan Mitchell was also a very streaky player in college and only averaged 15 points and 3 assists. Being a huge Louisville basketball fan, I knew Donovan Mitchell had enormous amounts of talent, but he was very streaky. By no means am I saying I called him being an all-star, because at the time I didn't even follow the NBA draft. Overall, Tyrese Maxey is one of the biggest hit-or-miss prospects, but similar to Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese has all the talent in the world to be a great NBA shooting guard. Tell me what you guys thought about these NBA comparisons, and if you think there would be anything that you guys would change. Also, tell me if you guys want to see a part 2 with LaMelo Ball, Denny Advidia, and some other top NBA draft prospects. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Now with that said, I'm out, and peace!